This is Councilman Basheer Jones, and I hope and pray all is well. And welcome to Corner Conversations. And I am here at one of my favorite breakfast spots, food spots in the entire city. And I'm with one of my favorite people as well, Mama Starks. How you doing?
I'm good, son. How are you?
Going?
Everything is well.
Tell us about this, I come here, you got the best pancakes in the city. That's what I tell everybody. Tell us a little bit about the business here.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things people ask me all the time, did you have a desire or a passion for a restaurant? And I have to be honest and tell them no. Real estate was what I did. And just happened trying to help somebody else, another person who owned a restaurant. He was looking for something, kind of caught in a real tight situation. And I offered to find him someplace that was better fit with his finances. And when this place came on the market, I was so in a hurry to go tell him about it, and then I only to find out that he was too deep into where he was. So talking to the owners, and they were Christian, I was a Christian, and so we got to talking, and all of a sudden they said, "Why don't you buy it?" And that began the story of Annie B's.
Annie B and Earl's Place right over here for 40th and St. Clair, actually right here in Ward 7. And this is a phenomenal woman. Where did the name Annie B and Earl's come from?
Well, Annie is actually my first name. And most people, if anybody calls me Annie outside of the restaurant now, they knew me from John D. Rockefeller, because I went to elementary school in Ward 7. Born and raised, well, I wasn't born here, but I came here as an iron baby. But I've been in Ward 7. I've had an opportunity to live in other places in the country, but I come back home. So home is where it is. That's where it's at.
When you look at right now the state of our country and small businesses, how has it been as a small business, especially coming out of COVID? You're still in COVID, rather. Right? How has it been for your business? Has your business suffered as a result?
I have to honestly, son, I have to honestly say that we have suffered some, but very little. And when I mean very little, I mean financially, of course, our numbers have went through a drop like with everybody else. But I think with me, my whole attitude was, we're going to be all right.
That's just your faith. Tell us about faith, your faith, how it's helped you.
I think that when I look at everything, and like I say, even the story about how I got the restaurant, it wasn't, and people say, why would you put a restaurant next to a restaurant? And probably if I had a plan or had a business plan, I wouldn't have put it here. So when I look at it from that standpoint, and one day you realize that it wasn't you, it was God, and God has a way. The Bible actually said the foot of the steps of the righteous are ordered by God. And then one day you wake up and you realize this is God's doing. So in that respect, I honor that in my heart. So if God gave it to me, he'll keep it. If I don't keep it, then it's not his will. So I just learn to rejoice in whatever state I'm in. And so my blessing has been to be able.
I got to stop right there. That resonated with me. Say that again. Say that again.
If God gives it to you, then he's able to keep it. If he doesn't, then he won't. So I've just learned to be content in whatever situation. And I think my blessing has been to be able to encourage people that way. I come from an era, and I guess my generation was the last era that really understood how it didn't matter whether you were up or down. You rejoice in the Lord at all times, and let his praises continually be in your mouth. So like I said, during the pandemic, my encouragement was, we're going to be okay. Everything will be fine. These are just down, up and down. We just ride the waves,
As you're in the city of Cleveland, how can the city of Cleveland better help small businesses?
I think that the first part of any, and I have to go back to church, a house divided against itself can't stand, unless a man is able to hold his own house or man his own house, how can he help, So I think that has to be the foundation of any community. A community is divided against itself, so we must stand together, regardless of what everybody else say. We have to be committed to stand together, even as a nation. Community divided won't stand. A nation divided won't stand.
And that's what we're going through
right
now.
Yeah.
Well, there's a marriage race happening here.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, a lot of people they say, well, Basheer, you just got started. You know, what's the point of going to run for mayor? And you know, what I say is, what we've been able to do here in Ward 7, we want to be able to see it happen in every part of the city. You know, as you look at this measure, why is it so important for people to be involved? You know, one of the things you and I, we always talk about, and most of the times we agree, and sometimes we disagree.
And that's okay.
And I love it because you teach me. And some of the things you've said, I said, oh man, Mama Starks was right about that.
Keep living.
Keep living.
Like the old people say, keep living.
Keep living, man. And so, you know, what's your advice to people, you know, who just say, hey, we're going to just focus on the presidential election and not focus on local politics? How important is local politics?
Well, local politics is very important. You know, it starts from the ground up. You know, people think that it starts from the top down. Yeah, but that person who sits at the top had to come from down and then go up to the people. You know, till you represent the people. So there's been milestones. So I would say, even to you, you know, you're a perfect example. I remember I had a little nephew, and he loved, even when he was barely out of his mom's arm, and he loved police. And when he would hear a siren, you know, he was too young to really understand, but when he would hear a siren, he'd run to the window, just excited. So now he's a police. So it's sort of, that reminds me of you. You know, you always had a desire to help your city, you know, and you own Cleveland and you took it. So when I can understand people saying, you know, you just started. You said, no, I just started in motion. But what's been in my heart, you can see it when I see you dancing with the elderly and hugging the kids. And I said, you know, some things you want to do and some things you're called to do. And I think that there's a great difference.
Ooh, speak on
you know,
that.
when you're called to do something, people don't understand, you know, but you know that there's something in you that's burning and it turns, and you know your happy place, and you know. So, and I think that, you know, when I think of you and I see you around the city, that's where I am with you. You know, people don't understand calling. You know, it's like me as a Sunday school teacher. I teach when I don't want to teach. You know, I talk when I teach when I'm talking. You know, and that has been my blessing to know, you know, who I am and what God has called me to do. You know, so.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
So I'm excited. You know, I'm excited for the city.
Wow, man.
You know, I'm
Talk
excited
about
for
that
the city.
excitement for the city. What causes you to be excited for the city?
Because like I said, again, when I see you in motion in the city, you know, then I know you're called for it. You know, like I said, calling is a lot different. You know, some people preach because they preach. You know, some other people call to preach. You know, so they'll do it in season, out of season, no money with money. You know what I mean? You know, your kids are calling you daddy and you're at the pulpit, you know. So there's a calling and there's a drawing, and only God can do it, you know. So when you know what you know, then you just know. You know, and my excitement for the city is to have someone who was positioned and called to that time, you know, for such a time as this, you know. And I told you before, I said it's not going to be easy, and be careful, you know, but keep moving, you know. It's fish scrambled with eggs and this toast, sweet toast. Yeah, that's yours. And bring him some butter for his grits, baby.
For those who are out there, you want to come to Annie B's in Earl's Place, right here on 40th and St. Clair.
Yeah.
And some of the best, not only the great pancakes, not only great food, but a great spirit. It's a great spirit, great energy. And
So
you feel like home. You really do.
And I say, if we did that, then hey, I've accomplished, you know.
For real.
You know. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, we truly appreciate you all, man. Thank you so much for joining us for Corner Conversation. Thank you so much to Mama Starks. And thank you for joining us at Annie B's in Earl's Place. Hey, stay tuned to our next episode as we travel around Cleveland, talking to Clevelanders about what's going on, what's happening, and what they see that needs to happen to make our city a better place. Thank you.